All right. Hello, everyone. We are back again with another episode of Innovation Heroes, where we tap into the minds of innovation leaders from around the world to get inspiration to drive our own innovation goals. I'm your host, Adam Olsen from HeroX, and I want to thank you all for tuning in. We're very excited about this segment with our special guest, Emanuele Volpe, Chief Innovation Officer at DTEK, to discuss open innovation in corporations. DTEK is an energy company with a mission to bring light and warmth to the people of the Ukraine, a dynamically developing company striving for leadership in the European energy markets. Their success is based on people, efficiency, and advanced technology. So welcome, Emanuele. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. Before we get started, could you share a little bit about your career path and what led you to DTEK and what excites you most about being part of the team?
Yes. First of all, thanks a lot for inviting me and to give me the possibility to share the experience we are having in DTEK, that is an Ukrainian company. DTEK is the largest company dealing with power in Ukraine. Is the largest private company. We are talking about 60,000 employees,
Wow.
3.5 million customers, 5.5 million connections, solar, wind, thermal generation, solar and wind, we call renewable. We have 1 gigawatt installed generation in Ukraine. Before the war, we started to install other 500 megawatt wind in the south part of Ukraine.
Wow.
We stopped it, we resumed. At the present time, we have additional 120 megawatt wind installed. Then outside Ukraine, we have in pipeline 500 megawatt renewable that we are starting to develop. Then 2.1 billion cubic meter gas extraction, 200,000 power line all around Ukraine. That if you think about the circumference of Earth, it's almost 5 times walking around our globe. It's a typical corporation. It's a typical corporation with everything related with. I mean, possibility to launch project and sometimes slow attitude, since you have internally procedure, processes and governance that of course you need to follow.
Right.
About my career, I started dealing with innovation 10 years ago. Before I was in previous companies. 5 years I have moved to Ukraine and to this company. And my mandate was at the time, please open an innovation function from zero. So basically we start from zero, hiring people, thinking how to structure. I mean, we were at the time like a small startup.
Well, that's always exciting. You're kind of a small team inside of the big corporation.
Yes. And the matter is the following. We well know how corporation, why do we need innovation within corporation? It's interesting, the study that Simons and Chabris in 1999 carried out about change blindness. So we have within not only our company, within the corporation, very high qualified specialists. They know everything. They know everything about their job. Unluckily, we see that when you are too much focused on what you do on a daily by day basis, sometimes you don't notice what's going on in the outer world. And the study carried out by those two psychologists was very simple. There is that famous video. I don't know if you had the possibility to watch the famous gorilla video. When
I don't think I've seen it.
It's so funny, since it's a short video. There are two teams of three young guys playing basketball. Basically, those two teams, they have one ball, one basketball ball, and they are passing through each other. Of course, there is the white team and there is the black team. And you have the target that you have to count how many times those three players are passing each other the ball. It's so funny that you are focusing on this and you are counting how many times. Mm-hmm. And you don't notice that in the middle, there is a gorilla that is passing through. And so funny, since at the end, when you are focusing on counting, and somebody is asking, okay, how many times did they pass the ball? 5, 10, 15, 20. But did you notice the gorilla? No, which kind of gorilla? And then you are rewatching again. And it's so funny, the first time I was noticing, I was watching this video, we were at a conference, it was 2010, 100 and more engineers, most of them with PhD and so on. I mean, very high qualified people that, of course,
everyone missed it.
Most of us missed the gorilla.
Wow.
So why I'm telling you this, that within our corporation, we have people that know very well what to do, but this is not enough. So you need a small function of, let's say, diplomatic rebels, people that are stimulating, that are bringing outside, inside, what's going on in the outer world.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. That's definitely the approach we take at HeroX. We really believe that curse of knowledge, right? When you're an expert and you work so closely on certain things for so long, it's so easy to miss some of the things that are right in front of you, and having that outside perspective or that fresh set of eyes can really make a difference in, coming up with unique and innovative solutions for problems.
Right.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you've had your work cut out for you starting at DTEK, building this team from scratch, and then obviously kind of, tackling open innovation there as well. Did you have experience doing open innovation in your previous role before you went there, or is this all new to you?
Yes, I have experience. I had experience in my previous company, the company I was with before joining DTEK. It was not easy. It is always not easy when you deal with innovation, but especially within the open innovation paradigm. But anyhow, this is the only way to run innovation. Yes. We can build our castle and deal everything inside. This is the typical research and development. Yeah. Sometimes, of course, you are scared to share what you have inside. So along with the castle, you need to have water, to say, around. Sometimes you put alligators and so on and so forth. But taking into account how fast the world now is changing, and taking into account especially the digitalization approach, the internet, the possibility to access internet, so on and so forth, makes no sense to put a lot of money in research and development departments when it's more easy to be humble, to share with everybody your challenges, and get from outside inputs in order to solve those challenges. Most of the time, you don't even solve your challenge, but you bring something new that within the company, unluckily, you could never think about.
Yeah, exactly. The traditional way is to, kind of keep your cards close to your chest and, stick with your internal team and innovate in that way. But like you mentioned, with how fast industries are moving and the pace of technology, to continue to do that and not be open to being open I think is pretty naive these days. You need to collaborate as much as you can. Before we get going, I just sidetrack. I really love your shirt. It's really cool. That's you mentioned before, the traditional Ukrainian shirt.
Yes, this is the traditional embroidered Ukrainian shirt. It's like, I don't want to get anybody offended, but it's like in Scotland. You know, in Scotland, there are different clans with the kilt. In Ukraine, this is not related to clans, but it is related to cities, to area, to provinces. The one I wear, by the way, this is a gift. My colleague, they made me as soon as I joined. As soon as I joined DTEK, it's from Kiev, and every shirt has its unique way of it's an art.
Yeah.
And especially now with the invasion going, it's some kind of national, how to say, sign.
Yeah, nice to show your support and wear it. And so are you in Kyiv right now? Is that where you're located?
Yes, I'm in Kiev now.
Okay, and that's where your office is as well?
Yes.
How are things there right now?
We have constantly alarms. Basically, we need to live with this.
Yeah.
And we cannot do anything. So most important is that, of course, safety first. So we have our shelters, and especially we need to get acquainted. We know that, we need to live with this situation. It would be worse if we would stop live.
Yeah.
On the other side, we work, we run our business on a daily basis. Of course, when we have those kind of alarms, we need to go to the shelter, and this is for corporate policy, and that's all. Sometimes it's not so easy. Yesterday we had 5 in one day.
Wow.
So step down, step up. It's a tragedy. We need to say, hope everything will be finished soon.
Yeah. No, everything that's been going on, watching from afar has been so difficult to see, and we can only imagine what you go through on a day-to-day basis. It's hit very close to home for myself and the team at HeroX, because one of our colleagues actually lives in the Ukraine. He was about to we're a completely remote team, so we have team members all over, but he was about to relocate to Canada just before things started. And obviously had to stay. And then one of our CTO is also from Ukraine. He's in Canada now, but has family back there. So we've, been trying to give as much support as we possibly can. And we really, hope everything gets cleared up soon for you guys.
Thanks much. Then appreciate. Thanks a lot.
Yes, of course. So, back to kind of the innovation focused questions. How has that been, trying to innovate over the past year and a half with everything going on in the Ukraine? Have you projects been put on hold because of everything going on? Have things just shifted focus to more important projects based on the circumstances you're in?
Yes, of course. Our life before and after February the 24th last year changed. It would be not fair to say in this way. Of course, we have to rethink about priorities of projects. From the other side, we got a good lesson learned, and it accelerated what we had in mind before. What I mean is that actually, you see that in the last few months, our power plants or power infrastructure in Ukraine is under continuously shelling, and made us rethink our strategy. Why continue to build localized or centralized power plant, instead of let's think about some kind of decentralized generation.
Interesting.
Of course, this is a trend that is already ongoing, that was already ongoing, not only in Ukraine. And thanks to innovation. Think about before we had only big power plants generating power, and then through transmission and distribution, moving that power to the final consumer, the customer. This has been running for 100 years. Basically, the power industry is 100 years old. It's not so old. Thinking about at the beginning, you remember Tesla, Edison, Westinghouse, let's say direct current, alternate current, so on and so forth. But most of the time, the business model is fixed, was fixed. Generation, transmission, distribution, and then final customer. And most important, the energy flow was from one side to the other. You could not have the reverse at that time. Of course, during last time, thanks to innovation, thanks to other technology, thanks exponential and disruptive technologies, we had not only consumers, but we have also prosumers. And what is the main difference? Consumers, you use power. Prosumers, you also generate power. And it's very simple. Basically, you can install solar panel on your roof, and you start not only to generate power, and from one side, you need to have the infrastructure that not only bring you power, but allow you to insert, to put power into the grid. So you have two different flows. But from the innovation point of view, the appearance of prosumers are bringing what is called a disruptive innovation. Since if I can generate by myself power, theoretically, I would not need anymore a company like DTEK that is anyhow generating power. And this is interesting. And this is, referring to those two psychologists, it's a typical case where when a while ago renewables generation showed up, most of the, let's say, expert, old, experienced power company were looking at renewable generation like, this is not serious. This is something that it's for kids. It's not a business that will touch us. Since they were focused on building big power plants, and again thinking about you need to build power plants to transmit, and then to bring to the customers.
Of course.
You see, basically, renewables generation is disrupting the traditional generations. And so, what we were thinking at the beginning is, and I don't want to say thanks to the war, but the war accelerate this. Makes no sense to build anymore big power plants that anyhow can be very easily targeted shelling by rockets. On the other side, let's move further in having distributed generation. So let's have different houses with solar panels. I understand this is an example. I understand that those prosumers will not need anymore our company to get power, but we could sell them, for example, softwares, programs that think about if you have a solar panel in your house. It's interesting if somebody is telling you, you know that tomorrow from 12 o'clock till 3 o'clock, you will have power. So it makes sense that you switch on your washing machine and not in the night. There is a shifting in the paradigm. Sometimes it's not so visible, but it is interesting since the world is going there. And we need to get added value from this shifting, not be passive. Otherwise, like, how to say, prehistorical animals, we will die.
Yeah. Well, that's really interesting. So it sounds like, you're really kind of taking a blockchain approach to things, similar. So is this something that you are actively like testing? Like, are you, do you have certain houses that you've already kind of put a solar panel in the two-way energy flow that you're testing out how it could work, how they could share energy to, their entire street, or is this something that's, a little bit further out that you're still kind of prototyping in-house?
Yet in Ukraine, there are already several gigawatts of installed renewable power.
Oh, wow.
And yes, since Ukraine is full of wind in the south part, and also full of sun, and it's how to say, it's a native, it's a virgin land. It is not so dense populated like, for example, in Europe. Sometimes in Europe you cannot even find the available piece of land to install solar panels or wind generation. Of course, February the 24th change a little bit our plan, but as soon as everything is finished, there are good, how to say, project, and there are good, how to say, intention to move forward.
So are there any other major technologies or things that are exciting on your agenda right now that, the war might have accelerated as well, or is this the main focus right now?
Yes, there are what we call exponential and disruptive technologies that we first learn and then introduce. Let me say the following. Since most of the time we think about innovation, we recall technology. On the other side, innovation is not technology. Technology is the end result.
Yeah.
The first approach towards innovation is about change in mentality, changing in the paradigm. Of course, and it is related to education, to people. As soon as you have people, that's as a first layer. The second layer is what we call it exponential and disruptive technologies. Why exponential and why disruptive? Exponential, since they are not linear. When you have a technology that is linear, recalling the lesson we heard at our school, from 2 points, you can have only one straight line. So if now is 0 as time, and I am here, in 1 minute is 1, in 2 minutes is 2, I know that in 10 minutes, the value will be 10. So it's linear. Exponential, this means that at the beginning, those technology are deceptive, and then they grow up very high. And sometimes they reach the disruptive level. This is what we don't want, not only as DTEK, but also as people. So because of this, we learn and then we introduce. We have defined, let's say, 8 exponential disruptive technologies, and then we added other 2. Those 8 technologies are 3D printing, artificial intelligence, blockchain, hydrogen, energy storage, Internet of Things, smart home, wearable with augmented mixed virtual realities, then drone, exoskeleton, and robots.
Wow.
Then, before the war, we were willing to add also cybersecurity and the metaverse, but due to some circumstances, we put on hold. Those technologies are interesting to learn, since they are really changing the life of our life, and also they are creating when they mix each other, different business models, interesting to apply. Think about the 3D printing. The 3D printing is a technology that is already 30 years old. But for 20 and more years, this technology was silent. Then, thanks to digitalization, thanks to the levelization, how much, we have equipment that turn it to be cheaper. Now, 3D printing is becoming some kind of mass product. You can have at home your 3D printing. Think about 3D printing technology applied to our company. So, thanks to 3D printing, you don't need anymore to keep warehouses as spare parts. Since if you need something, you can start to 3D print, avoiding to keep huge warehouses. Think about the logistics. You don't need anymore to ask a courier to bring the part. Maybe that is from the other part of the world. Think about the budgeting process. When you work in a big company, you know that you need to plan 1 year in advance what's going on 1 year later. So it's a crazy. And think about the budgeting process that you don't need anymore to put in budget. All these kind of maybe spare parts that you need to have in your warehouse. 3D printing is one of those technologies that they are already now disrupting the world, and it is worth to learn.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I've seen some unbelievable videos. I think they're mainly in Asian countries, but they're 3D printing houses in a couple days. They have like big concrete 3D printers. It's unbelievable.
Yes.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of opportunities for that technology, and it's interesting to hear your perspective on kind of the back end business, like decreasing warehouse space and how you're innovating on that side of the business, as well as the customer side, with your kind of blockchain energy networks. And I know you do a lot of work, obviously on the sustainability front. The green hydrogen production, that's something that you're actively working on.
Yes, let me say that at the beginning of our call, I missed to say that DTEK is committed to be carbon free before 2040. Wow. So it's clear, the future should be more sustainable. If your business is not sustainable now, it's like if you buy a Ferrari. I'm Italian, so I like Ferrari. So not Mercedes or Porsche. You need to fill in the fuel. You cannot find anymore on the roads fueling station. Since the world has already changed. Instead of fueling station, you find electric chargers. So you as corporation should have inside your DNA to be sustainable. Running a sustainable business should not be only PR. It should be something. Innovation is the tool that could bring your business to a more sustainable one. So because of this, there are a few companies that I have mixed the innovation function with the sustainable function to work together. Of course, DTEK now is not 100% a sustainable company. We are the biggest private company in Ukraine that installed more than 1 gigawatt renewables. But my dream would be to have 100% sustainable business. Of course, green hydrogen is something that could help a lot. It's a mental shift since we deal with electrons. We do not deal with molecules. But it's also clear, green hydrogen, that is hydrogen generated, produced thanks to renewable power, is the only way to decarbonize some kind of businesses. The big advantage of hydrogen is that when it burns, it generates, of course, power, and H2O, that is water or vapor of water. It does not generate CO2. CO2 is the bad word now. Is that molecule that is polluting.
So, that's an unbelievable goal that DTEK has. And I feel like a lot of organizations have some pretty ambitious, sustainability goals right now. It's at the forefront of every organization getting to that zero emissions standpoint. And I think, we've certainly been noticing a lot of organizations that we work with trying to leverage open innovation and crowdsourcing to support them on achieving these goals because of the importance of doing it quickly, right? And as you mentioned before, open innovation is the best way to, innovate quickly. So we've been hosting a lot of sustainability and environmental challenges lately, seen some really interesting ideas come out of crowdsourcing. How are you leveraging open innovation to help reach these goals that you have?
We have a chart. We have created an ecosystem where, of course, at the center, we have our company. We have identified 6 main innovation stakeholders. These are startups, customers, suppliers, funds, universities, and corporations.
Right.
I have listed startups at the beginning and corporation at the end, since startups, they always have a higher percentage of innovation embedded within their business. Corporation, unluckily, or luckily for me, they have a lower level of innovation. And the matter is very easy. First of all, you need to shift your paradigm. Then the most clever people work in your company. I'm sorry to say this, but open innovation is a simply statement that, sorry, we need to be humble. We cannot know everything without the company. And for sure, you will find somebody outside the company that knows better than you. So why don't you collaborate? And what we do, we have all our businesses, generating power, distributing power, and so on and so forth. We collect twice per year what we call challenges from our businesses. So we meet with our business, with our colleagues, and ask in which way we could help you. And we gather all these challenges. We, of course, analyze, we filter, we reformulate, since you cannot go outside sometimes with a wording from a highly specialized colleague that talks in some kind of wording that is not for let's say normal people. And as soon as we gather, we publish. At the beginning we got, how is it possible you publish? If you publish our challenges, everybody will know. Maybe everybody that we understand our strategy. So it's not fair. From the other side, okay, do we want to continue to keep closed your castle, or better to open and, of course, filtering, analyzing, and so on and so forth, allowing everybody to know in which way they could help. We have our platform, openinnovation.dtek.com, where twice per year we publish those challenges, and everybody could read and could apply for a solution. Let's say that we start to analyze solutions or proposals with a readiness level more than 5.
Okay.
Does it work? In 5 years, we have analyzed 2,500 proposals with 58 of those proposals, we have run pilot projects within our company. Wow. And with 16 of those pilot projects that were fine-tuned, they got a contract with our company.
Wow, that's amazing.
Most important, those proposals are not for Ukraine, since the open platform is open to the entire world. And up to now, we are in touch with different other innovation stakeholders from all different parts of the world. Mm-hmm. Most important, when the proposal is fine-tuned, we do not buy any startups, we do not buy any copyright. We understand that, thanks to open innovation, it's most important for us to introduce their technology, their idea, their approach within our business, but we don't want to buy a startup. Right. Otherwise, you kill them. It's since you have two different mentalities, two different approach, you have two different clashes between a startup approach and a corporate approach. And we have different startups that they grow up with us. And then when the product was fine-tuned, they also sold that product to other corporations. And from this point of view, it's our small contribute to raise the Ukrainian innovation ecosystem. Since it's not one corporation that is innovative and the entire innovation ecosystem is innovative. So you need to be humble and support also those small, yes, I call startups, maybe they're not only startups, but those small realities that anyhow, up to now, they've brought a lot of added value to our company.
That's a fantastic approach and very noble, that's, I think it is really important to not try to be greedy and keep all the innovation to yourself and to share it to progress the country and the ecosystem. And, there's obviously always going to be benefits as well. Like you mentioned before, the differences between corporations and startups and allowing those, not buying them and allowing them to stay startups or smaller companies allows them to be, a little bit more nimble, act quicker, and, innovate faster. So I'm sure that you get a lot of value from taking this approach beyond, just progressing the industry.
Sometimes when you deal with startups, you need to be very patient, since sometimes they drive you crazy. But what we have got dealing with them is, of course, more important than if we have been dealing by ourselves. Let me make one example. At the beginning, when we started 5 years ago, we got one of the first startups that approached us, and it was pretty interesting. So we were willing to fill their product. Of course, at the beginning, you need to sign a non-disclosure agreement in order we share our data, we provide our experts to support the startup. So there is exchange of data. And we applied the copy and paste approach we had in our company. So when somebody is asking you to collaborate, you sign this non-disclosure agreement, there is a list of 10 documents that you have to ask to that counterpart. And of course, something is if you ask those 10 documents to a corporation, they have lawyers, they know what to do, people with governance. Another matter when you ask those documents to a startup. And one of the first startup was asking a very simple question. Sorry, but why do you need all those 10 documents? Since for us, it's time to gather. It's not so easy. And a very simple question. I remember that one of my innovation manager then addressed it to me. And so in this case, I gave a call to the security director. And I asked, sorry, Sergey, but why do we need those 10 documents? That's my colleague. I don't know, but let me ask. Okay, Sergey, reverted this question to Mikhail and so on and so forth. And the end, the answer we got very easy, since we have done always in this way. You know, when we have done always in these ways, the typical word that is killing innovation. But so interesting, if we did not meet with that startup, I'm pretty sure we did not change our approach.
You would have never questioned it.
Yes, on the contrary, thanks to that startup, now we have a simplified approach. Since sometimes, you know, you do not want to exit from your paradigm.
Well, exactly. You know, if you have something that's worked and it's been working for ages, like why question it? Why change it until someone comes along and says, why are you doing it like this?
And meanwhile, you stay in your paradigm, you don't see the world is changing. And better, on the contrary, to be aware what is changing and where the world is going, then wait and be disrupted. That's all.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. So, you know, as you've spent some time in the energy industry recently, like over the past 5 years, you mentioned, and you know, you're seeing a lot of these changes. Where do you see the industry and where do you see DTEK and your team, you know, in the next 5 years? Where would you like to be sitting at that time?
Let me say that it's a good question.
It's a tough one, I know.
No, especially since maybe I don't know where where I will be, let's say, and also where DTEK will be. But I'm pretty sure that there will be exponential changes. What I was talking, centralized, decentralized power. I could also start to think that does it make sense that in future company like DTEK still exist? Since you know, we need to be ready to everything, especially when you see with the digitalization approach, the digitalization approach enable an explosion of different other possibilities and business models. Think about digitalization. You know what we have learned, the famous 6D from Singularity University. Digitalization, then at the beginning you have a deceptive, then you have disruptive, then you have demonetization, you have dematerialization, and at the end you have democratization. So in few words, why do we need a company like DTEK or a power company if as a prosumer I can generate by myself, and maybe I can sell the power I generate to my neighbor, which doesn't have maybe solar panels, but he has a battery storage. So he can accumulate, store the power in excess, and then maybe sell again to me. We are going through a democratization of not only the power, but you see everything is going towards a democratization of the business. So I don't know where we'll be, but I'm pretty sure that it will be interesting. Of course, we could provide an approach that, guys, let's try to be open as much as possible. Again, don't build castle. On the other side, let's have your change in your mind shift. So this is most important. Otherwise, you know, it's how to say, it's an evolutionary process. You know, it's Darwin say that only the species that can adapt survive, and not the more strength.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, I always love hearing perspectives like that from my guests, because obviously that's where my passion lies, in open innovation and, you know, open collaboration. And it's been really amazing how that theme continues to come up right now. Whereas I look back a few years ago, even I feel like it just that perception and that mentality of wanting to be an open organization and to be collaborative when it comes to innovation, it wasn't as common. So I really I'm starting to feel a major shift in the way people and innovation leaders are thinking, and in turn their organizations. So it sounds like there's, you know, your team has a fantastic mindset. It sounds like there's some incredible technologies and exciting changes that are going to be, you know, coming into play over the next 5 to 10 years. So I'm, you know, interested to see where the energy industry goes, and especially, you know, how DTEK plays a part in that. We are coming to our time now, but you know, I really can't thank you enough, Emanuele, for taking some time out to chat with me today. You know, I can't even begin to wrap my head around, you know, what you and your team must be dealing with on a day-to-day basis in the Ukraine. So, you know, I just want to reiterate again that I really do value the time that you were able to share with us today. And, you know, I hope we can, you know, stay connected and potentially find some way to collaborate again in the future. Before we part ways, I just want to give you the chance to leave any final remarks for our guests. So Mike's all yours.
Yes, two points. First one is don't be afraid about dealing with innovation. Most of the time, when we hear the word innovation, people are scared, and myself as well. Mm-hmm. Since we understand that innovation is not technology, technology is a product of innovation. At the beginning, innovation is a change of your mind. And always when we deal with people, it's a psychology, it's scaring. You need support. You need, like a small kid, to see that it works. You need to have people with, more experience that are explaining. For example, when we started the open innovation approach, I remember I met with Chesborough in the state. And he gave us a little bit of insight. And especially, this is not theory, this is not public relation. This is something that works, and not will be works already now. So don't be scared about embracing, especially the open innovation approach. It will change your life, I'm pretty sure, since it changed my life. So
amazing.
Better. And the second point, thanks a lot for all the support you are doing towards Ukraine. You know, this situation changed a lot our life. I had several colleagues. You know, in our company, we have more than 5,000 employees that they went to work. So they decide to let's keep how to say, a relationship with our company, but I need to serve the military.
Wow.
And so we also lost hundreds of colleagues. So at the end of all, I would like to say those two words that also changed a lot of my life since five years I live in Ukraine. And those are Slava Ukraini.
Well, I'm sorry to hear about the losses that your company's experienced. And I know I speak for myself, my colleagues, my friends, and, you know, I feel like most of the world, where we say, you know, we certainly stand behind yourself in Ukraine, and we're always thinking about you. So thank you again. It's been an absolute pleasure getting to hear about the work you do, the work you're still continuing to do despite your circumstances, and everything that you have going on. Thank you also to everyone who's joined in listening to us today. Keep your sights on this powerful leader as he leads the innovation efforts in the energy industry in the Ukraine. You can follow Emanuele on LinkedIn directly if you'd like to stay up to date on the things he and his team are working on. As well, you can always connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm happy to continue these conversations beyond the podcast. If you'd like to connect with me, again, my name is Adam Olsen, or you could message us directly at possibilities@herox.com. Thank you for being part of the solution and have a fantastic day.